You.
Hey, you haven't done anything for Fractally. I vote you position 6.
This is going to be a tough group.
Hey everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Hey, all. Just so everyone knows, I'm recording.
I am also recording too.
Oh, nice.
And planning to share at some point.
All right.
Great.
Well, I will give you guys a status update of what I've been working on. One of the challenges with Fractally is scaling the amount of data that we have. Kind of like Hive has lots of data and content. We want Fractally to be a competitor to Hive, just from a social coordination perspective. And we wanted it to not be super expensive like EOS resources are for storing content and not require a lot of custom infrastructure. So I've been working to enable our database to maintain performance even as the amount of data that we are storing exceeds what will fit in RAM. That is a tall order, but this week I got some very, very promising results that looks like will be 25% faster than EOS for stuff that fits in RAM, and we'll be able to maintain a long tail of information that's infrequently accessed, but nevertheless part of the consensus state. So hopefully we can have terabytes of data that are part of consensus instead of maybe 100 gigabytes or whatever EOS currently supports. So I think that's a fundamental game changer in terms of how the technology stack is easy for developers and easy for the community to replicate on more cost-effective hardware, while simultaneously supporting parallel reads of the database. Whereas EOS, you can only have one thread reading the database at a time, which means the read performance for parallel queries is not very good, and you have to replicate the entire database somehow. So there's a lot of extra cost to the infrastructure there. And my new database structure that we're working on for Fractally is going to solve that particular problem. So that's what I've been working on for the past couple weeks. And I've gotten some really good results, good enough results that I'm confident that we're going to use it over what's currently in ESIO.
Sounds awesome. Yep, that sounds really cool. Thanks for sharing, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
Thanks.
Yeah, the new chain sounds amazing.
I'm pretty excited about what we got cooking. All right. So in addition to that, I've been funding the team that's been working on other things. One of those team members is James. So I'm just going to provide a little bit of vouching for what work James has been doing. James has been building the new NFT and token standard as the foundation of all the different Fractal tokens, transferring them around. The various similar in nature with slight modifications to what we proposed to ENF back on Tuesday. So that's what he's been working on. He's been doing a good job there. And both of us are just dying to release the code that we've been working on, but we're batching it up to have a bigger announcement of that in the weeks ahead. So for now, I got my word, and I'll let him share what he was doing, and then we can pass the baton.
Dan, what did you get in last week's ranking?
6.
Okay. So I'm James, as Dan introduced, thanks. And I'm on the Fractally team. So yeah, I spent. I wasn't in last week's consensus meeting. Actually, couldn't make the meeting. So I am going to talk about things I did in the last 2 weeks, and people can organize it in their head how they see fit. So I did 2 weeks worth of work on these smart contracts, as Dan said, the token contract and the NFT contract, and actually a third contract as well, the symbol contract, which was also part of our original pitch to the ENF. These smart contracts are the system contracts. I'm happy I can just talk openly about this now. Now there's it. Yeah. So that's what my main contribution has been. And then I have some other contributions as well. Not this past week, but the week before that, I wrote an article that maybe some of you saw. It was called Proof of Nothing. But the intention of that article was to draw attention to the similarities between the consensus mechanism that we're using here in Fractally and actually proof of work, like the Bitcoin style proof of work, and how neither of them are in fact reliant on proof. People think of proof of work as proof that work was done, but in a very technical sense, it's not actually proof of any particular amount of work. So anyway, it's just some educational materials, and I will probably continue to produce them.
Would you say
from
that
time
it's
to time?
evidence of work instead of proof of work, because proof is a
Right.
higher threshold than evidence?
Yeah, it's statistically related to work. I'd say it's evidence of work, and I'd say that's also what we provide here in these meetings is evidence of the work that we've done. And then it's really proof of consensus, which is also all Bitcoin is. So that's what we're doing here. I also wrote another article that I put on the Mighty Networks thing. It's called Onboarding to the Genesis Fractal or something. But I noticed that there just wasn't a good single-page resource that we could send to new members, so I put that together, and it has a bunch of links and very brief descriptions of things that people can use. And I also made a tweet thread about fractal democracy. Got 330 engagements and about 5,800 impressions. And 2 people reached out to me from that tweet thread about being interested in joining Fractally, although I think they maybe were... I didn't see either one in the pre-meeting, so I don't know if they joined last minute, but Perry and Jed were, if you guys know them from the community, are the 2 people that reached out. And that's it. Yeah. And I'm really super excited about what we're doing here and fractal governance in general, and also cannot wait to release the stuff we're working on and make it open source. I don't like working on closed source stuff. I don't think Dan does either. So I'll pass it off now to Dan. Sing Joy.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thanks, James, so much for everything, and thanks, Dan, so much for everything. And also, I think Perry did attend last week. I'm not sure, but I think I saw him here. And then also, I'm happy to go, and maybe I should just go, but also I haven't heard from Gabriel, and it's nice to see Gabriel. It's the first time we've met on camera before, so I'd like to just say nice to meet you. And if Gabriel or Oscar would like to speak first, then you can feel free.
Sure, I'll jump in there since you mentioned me. Thanks, Dan. I just noticed that I can't share my screen, so I was going to have a big reveal to quickly run by you guys now, but I can't do that, but I'll talk through it. The challenge that I'm taking on is trying to consider the value, which is the why, the utility, which is the what, and the how, which is the ease, which is the how of building DAOs, right? In a kind of broad general sense. So I'm working very closely now with Josh Seymour, who you guys all know, on a DAO planner. So far, it's a template in Notion, and it goes through a bunch of 4 main categories, drilling down into different questions, very structured, little mini tables so they can define what kind of roles might be involved in a DAO, etc., etc. So I'll just read off a few. I can't share. So we've got a section for governance, which includes treasury and voting so far. We've got a section called positioning. Positioning is more about brand and purpose. So we've got sections for backstory. How did the DAO come to be? Purpose. What does it want to achieve? What are the core values of that particular DAO? What is the narrative that it wants to tell? And what are the benefits to the members? That's the positioning section. In community, we've got who are the early members, the innovators, starters, and funders of the DAO? What opportunities do members have? What are the incentives that they have to be involved? And what are the specific roles? And where do they hang out in terms of community channels? What is the member onboarding process? And where is the documentation for the DAO? So that's in the community section. And then finally is the operations. So here we've got working groups, we've got proposals, legal, monetization, how does the DAO fund itself, roadmap for the DAO, and then DAO tooling as the last section there. So again, unfortunately, I can't share the screen, but looking
How much
forward
of
to
what you've produced is DAO general, and how much leverages the insights of fractal democracy and Fractally?
So Josh and I have the idea to pull together a fractal team so that we are going to apply the Fractally process to the DAO builder that we're developing, and then be able to customize it to the exact fractal process. But to do that, we're starting with a generic DAO builder, and we want to put together a fractal team and then customize the DAO planner. So in a nutshell, that's it. Can't share the screen, but you'll see it soon enough, I guess.
I'd recommend, if you want to share a screen, you talk to Dan Singjoy about a virtual camera that he uses so that he can just share it right in the background of his Zoom video without any permission from Zoom. So he's got a pretty good thing going on there.
Is it already shareable? Or is all this template in Notion, the one you mentioned, not ready yet to be shared with the public?
It's not, it's half baked. Josh and I have been focusing on it for the past week or so, but it's still half baked. I want to polish it off. I'm looking into a lot of DAO communities and seeing how they're structured and taking best practice ideas or what we think is a better approach. But it's not public yet.
All right.
Great work. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oscar?
This is a good. That's very good. I just want to mention it because someone was asking in the Fractal group if Fractal was gonna have a template or something of a sort. So this comes in very handy. I didn't hear. What was your rank last week?
I haven't been in a meeting for a couple of months. I can't remember what it was last time, but it was low relative to everyone else's near full-time contribution where I was in the meeting last time.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna open my contributions from here. Paste them on the chat. Didn't do much this week, but oh, okay. Apparently I can't write that much.
Do you want to?
Okay, I participated in the ES Translation Foundation meeting. The Hive is her name. Mine is. That's also my name. Right here. Okay. Participated in the last in the ES Translation Foundation Fractally team meetings to introduce a new team member. It's called Marco. I'm sure you know him. His username on Telegram is Meckenberg. And after that, we voted on if we wanted to add him to the team or not. We unanimously consent on adding him, and after that, we voted on adding the team member on a high post. I believe this is the official way of doing it. Then I granted editing permissions on the Notion side that we have for the team to this new member, to Marco, so he can add his contributions. We have a section in there that talks about weekly contributions. I did not follow the template that we have in there. Mark, our team leader, made a contribution template so we could write in there all the contributions. Like this I'm sharing with you in here in the chat would be something that we should be putting on our Notion page. I skipped that part because I was in a rush writing the list down. All right, so I granted editing permissions to him. Then I created social media profiles for the Fractally team, a Gmail account, a Twitter, Medium, and GitHub account. We have all this together. Also, after that, I proposed the releasing of the team's Telegram group from private to public, so we can share with the community, and they can join and share with us. They have the link. Also further develop the integration of also helped in the development of the further integration of the translation services to the ES with the ESBs by evaluating the quality of the generated script of a YouTube video, the script of a YouTube video. That we want to translate all the content from the videos. So in order to do this, we need to grab the transcription of the text, the script that YouTube gives you, and make sure it is grammatically correct. So when we translate the SRT files, it gives a very accurate translation to the language we're looking for. So we evaluate the English part, so they can then we can later move on to the translation of in other languages. Then I also helped Esteban. This is something that has more to do with the Trust DVM, but also to support Esteban, the Ethereum developer that is working on the Trust swap, which is a swap based on what was it, Uniswap. He's gonna deploy on the EVM. I helped him with the publication of an article that he wrote on how do crypto bridges work. You have the link in there. And then I helped with the brainstorming of contributions about how to grow the community and prepare for a possible airdrop or something of the sort for making the community aware of the developing in the Trust EVM.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Oscar.
Last week I ranked number 4, I believe. 4? Yeah, 4. I can't remember well. I'm on 4 or 3. The thing is that I was with Dan in the same room and many great people, and their contributions were just amazing. So
everyone's doing so much on the contribution side. It's really, really hard to rank every week. So I think it'll get easier when we get more passive users. Right now, we're all super users trying to rank each other.
Yeah, although also I think
amazing.
too, yeah, it's super amazing, exciting. But I think also, like, as the community becomes bigger, and like potentially if there's more at stake, like if people can earn, valuable assets something like that, then it might get much more intense too, over time, which is a crazy thought to think about, in terms of how much high quality work is coming out. So it's already very difficult and people are doing amazing work, but the future is super exciting.
Yeah, and I've been sharing all of it because I have to say I read the article from James. It was a great read. It was very and you don't even need to have technical knowledge in order to get a good read from it. So I shared this because to me it was pretty amazing. Also did the same with the contributions about the new Fractally chain that is coming. We had a discussion about this in a private group that I'm part of, and talking about this is going to be great. And I know some people are, it's not very smooth, and some people are still in holding, let's say, feelings about why is that not working on EOS. And we're like, this is great because everyone gets the benefit from this. So
it's definitely the right move.
Exactly. Don't worry. It's going well.
Let's get Dan Singjoy in the get your contributions on paper here.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. It won't quite be on paper, more digital, but sounds good. And thanks, Oscar, as well as great meeting you last week or 2 weeks ago. And also, you posted a bunch of great stuff in like the Telegram and Discord chats too that I don't think you mentioned. So yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, I'll start. And then also, the thing that that Dan was talking about, Gabriel, about doing presentations. I'd be happy to show you how to do it like this. Makes it much easier than having to rely on Zoom, and you can make it look cool. There's lots of different ways you could do it. You can also do it with like actual paper and different methods too. But digitally, I'm also working on tutorials, and I'd be happy to help show you at any time if you'd like.
By the way, once we get to our own video software, this will be the only way to do presentations because we're not re-implementing the screen sharing capabilities of Zoom in what we're doing.
Okay, cool. Sounds awesome. So I'll start with the presentation then, without further ado, I suppose. So I've been working quite a bit on Eden Fractal, and this much of the presentation was inspired by James Mart. He reached out with a message to me and Chuck a few days ago that inspired me to start building Eden Fractal, a website, and starting to get together and take the initiative for it. I've been in the meeting with Dan for the past 3 meetings, I think, so far, so he knows a bit about it. But basically, I've been building Eden Creators. I think most people might be aware, but I've been building Eden Creators, which is a media outlet that is sorry, I had the wrong window open, but it's a media outlet working to help everyone cooperate fractally and make the best experiences possible, and generally making a lot of like cool music and videos and all sorts of stuff to help people understand the benefits of fractally. And one of the things that I'm aiming to do with this, I've been building it for the past like year or so, is build fractals and to help create like a better world and more fun world and a more independent world, like Dan was talking about before. Really great points, Dan. So I think one of the best first steps to do with this is to build an Eden fractal, where we basically empower the Eden community with the fractal consensus process. And so over the past few weeks, I've been building a proposal. I've been creating a proposal. It's kind of a draft proposal for an Eden fractal, which is basically Eden fractal events to incentivize and reward and coordinate helpful contributions to Eden. Basically, it will work just like this Fractally process, but it'll be with Eden. People can earn respect from Eden for helping Eden specifically. And I'm making a proposal for the chief delegates of Eden, but I'm also starting with funding it with 100 EOS a week that will also be distributed according to the Fibonacci process. So there's a proposal draft, and I discussed this quite a bit with James and some other Eden members. It's quite in detail. You can check it out at edencreators.com/EdenFractal if you're interested in checking it out. But that I refined it this week, and I spoke about it a lot. Yesterday, I put together like a really quick draft website for Eden Fractal, so it's still very much early, but we think we're going to try to do it in the next 2 weeks on June 8th. We already have a meeting going that Josh has been hosting called Empowering Eden Contributors, and so this is just like a very early draft. I picked out some like the biggest, I suppose, things that people might want to do this for. So helping Eden, earning EOS, earning respect, meeting Eden members, and experiencing fractally. So those are kind of like, I don't know if selling points is the right word, but just trying to figure out like the top details or top things to focus on in terms of promoting it, and then also writing out some basic details and so forth, so that we can have a promotional material to sell to share with Eden members who are interested in participating in this. So I spoke about that. I've also been working on Fractal Forums too, which I shared a bit, but that's also another Fractal event that is similar to the Eden Fractal. And there's another draft proposal here. You can see edencreators.com/Fractal Forums that has the Fractally process with a kind of a modification where people can do the Fractally process about specific topics that I won't go into much more detail here. But we're trying to do that pretty soon after, but focus on the Eden Fractal first. So I discussed that with James and Joshua and several Eden members at the Moving Eden Forward meeting this week. And then Joshua made a message about how he's planning to repurpose the Wednesday meeting to help accomplish his goal with the Eden Fractal proposal. James Mart made the great thread that he was talking about, and I retweeted some of those. He was talking about helping Eden with the Fractally process. I spoke about it during the EOS Fireside chat, talked a bit about Fractally on EOS and the recent changes and the Eden Fractal. And then I also shared a couple of messages in the EOS Telegram chat to talk about how Fractally can help Eden and EOS. And then I also participated in the Fractally on EOS brainstorming sessions hosted by Jesse and Patrick this week, and talked about it a bit there, as well as other ways to help build Fractally on EOS. And I featured it briefly on the EOS Hot Sauce this week as well. And then I also participated in the EOS support live stream hosted by Charles. It was awesome. And we spoke a little bit about the Eden Fractal and Fractally as well there. And I featured on the Hot Sauce. And then I retweeted James's tweet. And that's that. And thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. I didn't even have to put YouTube on 1.5x for that presentation. All right. Well, this is going to be a very, very hard week. Everyone's contributions are incredible. I don't have the words for it. So
I have to say that I invited Lisa Chandler from the Crown community, but I'm still waiting for her to accept the invitation and come join us.
all right. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
I have a couple questions for people. Gabriel, you're working with Josh Seymour. Are you in an actual team? Did you form a team? Or is it ad hoc right now?
It's ad hoc right now. So I've got a couple of DAOs that I'm looking to, just real quick, I'm looking to buy a big piece of land in Mexico and open up a DAO governed in real life safe haven playground for people like us. And part of that is building an online DAO. So I'm doing a lot of research into that area. And Joshua and I speak regularly. We have a weekly dedicated catch-up call or two on a couple of our shared projects, Evolve, which is his thing, being one of them. And we've got to the point now where we have enough ideas that we want to create we just discussed it this week, a formal Fractal team that will serve as applying this DAO builder system that we're building.
Very cool. And Dan Singjoy, are you on a team?
No, I'm not currently a team. I've been speaking with Felix Reese about starting a team, and we're starting to reach out to other people to start kind of like an Eden or creative or Fractally oriented team, but we haven't started it yet.
Cool. Oh man. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and kick things off with who I think deserves, whose contributions I think deserve the rank 6, and I do think that would be Dan Larimer. I think that Dan's contributions for introducing this whole concept have not been fully compensated in the form of respect yet. Like just that contribution. I don't even care necessarily about the database work he's doing in terms of needing to rank him number 6. Obviously I care about that a lot too, but I'm just saying I personally think that the contribution of fractal governance to the world is very important, and for that alone I would give him number 6, and then on top of that the database work he's doing. And the fact
it's great
that
we can actually hear from you guys actually now, and you're able to share a little bit more details. Of course, not the whole thing, but now we're listening from you and getting a lot more information, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it's exciting to finally be able to talk more freely.
At the count of 3, can we send the top number 1 contributor? If everyone is ready.
1, 2, 3, go.
I didn't know we were doing it that way. Sorry.
Yep. So that seems pretty open and shut. Number 2.
Whoa. Hang on. I didn't know we were doing it this way. And now is this a new thing? Did this happen last week? We all decided to use this mechanism or something?
We've been doing it for a while.
I have never done this in a meeting.
It's
started
faster.
like 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah.
Okay. 2 weeks ago I was here, but we didn't do that in our meeting then. Okay. Let me think for a second. This is hard.
I love James, like overwhelmed there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, we're gonna count, but
I'm ready.
there you go.
So it's basically between James and I. I would be happy for James to be the number 1 as well. I did nominate myself just because of time, money, and leadership things, but I do think that James's contribution to the Fractally team
Well, wait, hold on.
is huge.
Gabriel, stop! Wait.
Am I not supposed to get on with it? Sorry.
Yeah, we go one by one, so we don't get biased by other people's you
Gotcha.
know.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure I've put less time specifically directly into fractals. So once it becomes a fractal thing, then I'm going to pitch myself higher, but I'm just getting on with it for now.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess focusing on 6, I'm also very happy to rank Dan number 6. I ranked James Martin number 6 because, I mean, partially because James is doing amazing, super helpful work, of course, as Dan has as well. And I totally agree with what James is saying, that Dan deserves like as much respect as possible for leading this and so forth. I also noticed that James, he hasn't attended as many meetings, and so he there's a lot of work he's done that he hasn't been respected for just because he wasn't there. So that was part of the reason why, in addition to the great work. But I'm happy to go either way for number 6, of course.
That makes sense. I would change my vote to James in order to get him the top respect this week.
All right. So I think, James, I'm going to leave it up to you because you nominated me, and I appreciate the nomination, but I also recognize that you have not been fully recognized for all your contributions to Fractally since you joined. So
My opinion is the same. I think that Dan should be at the 6th slot, so I'm leaving it that way.
Okay. Then I'll switch my vote to Dan for number 6.
Okay, so Dan will be then.
Okay.
Okay, number 2.
Rank 5, right? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
God.
All right. We have consensus. And I guess there's one person that didn't say James. This was one vote for Greville. Greville, I don't know, that's your name. All right. Do you want to do 4?
Yeah, let's go. Not ready yet. Wait.
1, 2,
Cool.
3. Ready, set, go. All right. So it looks like Singjoy takes number 4.
This was a really difficult one for me. I did vote for Dan Singjoy, but I did almost vote for Oscar solely for the fact that he is on a team. The outreach Dan is doing is absolutely phenomenal, and his face is everywhere, and he mentions Fractally all the time. So Dan Singjoy is ultimately why I chose you for this rank. But I do also want to recognize that, Oscar, you're in a team, and I think you're able to mine additional value that's hard to articulate when you're on a team because you're working with a group of focused people on a common goal, and I think that's super valuable. So if it weren't for the outstanding contributions of Dan Singjoy, I probably would have.
I know Dan
agree with
Singjoy
that,
has been
totally.
doing a lot of great contributions. I have been in groups with him for the past 3 weeks. And he's ranked relatively highly, I believe, every week. Dan, can you clarify? Do you remember what your ranks were the last couple of times?
Yeah, I was ranked number, I think, 4 and then 5 over the past 2 weeks, and then like 4, and then I was ranked 6 quite a bit before then. So I've also like, I mean, I'm very honored and I appreciate the respect. But I'd be very happy to rank Oscar or Gabriel higher as well. I put myself down there just real quick because I didn't know what to do. But I do think that I have, like, there's so many people doing amazing work in the community. So I'd be very happy to rank either Oscar or Gabriel above because they're both doing incredible work.
You can
So,
stay there. Don't worry. You deserve it.
Graviel is the one I nominated. Just he's doing new stuff, getting started. I wanted to encourage that, and he hasn't gotten a lot of historic recognition either. So I was wanting to kind of give him a bump for those reasons. Not that I'm not. It's just really hard to rank all of them, so I'm just using my own subjective weighing here, recognizing that it's flawed and short of information. So that was my rationale.
Okay. I'd be happy to vote for Gabriel for number 4.
Man, I can see it both ways. It's just like, what metric do I want to use to rank people here?
Different metrics have different rankings, and it's really hard.
Yeah, because I agree, Dan. I want to give Gabriel some recognition for the stuff he's doing, especially given that he hasn't been as actively involved and has a lower total respect than I think probably the other people here. But I think that I think that it's, for me, more compelling to vote for the contribution that I can immediately see the benefit for. So, Gabrielle, if you were in a position where the DAO tool that you were building was live and you had some use, I think I would be swayed by that. But because of the immediacy of the benefit of Dan Singjoy's contributions, I think those contributions, personally, I think they deserve to be ranked higher. I'm wondering what you think, Gabrielle.
I think it's a fascinating process, and the intricacy of the subjective assessment of what the metrics and measures are. I agree. I think what I'm doing is valuable. Hopefully it will be very valuable, but 100% agree that it's not contributing anything directly yet. It's not explicitly fractal per se yet. So it totally makes sense that the direct contributions would receive a higher rank order than indirect that will become direct later on, and then I can earn more respect from it then.
That sounds good. I just want to encourage you to continue doing that work, and
Agreed.
And let you know that that type of work upon maturity will be valued by the community if it's well executed. So keep it up. And since I'm going to go ahead and side with that argument there, which means Dan Singjoy is 4, unless there's any objections.
No, I stand by it. That should be.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have objection. I was going to say James also made a good reasoning for ranking Oscar as number 4 too, which I would also be happy to do as well. Oscar's doing amazing work both in the chats and with the team.
Oscar, what have your past rankings been?
Number 4th last week.
And the week before that?
4 from the top down. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ah.
And the week before that was number 1, and the week before that one was the last one.
Okay. Yeah, it's helpful to communicate, to keep ranks. 6 is good, 1 is poor. So when you say 4, I'm thinking you're doing good. You can invert the perceptions if we're not super clear on rank. 6 is better than rank 4, is better than rank 1. All right. Based on that, I could go with Oscar as well. Do we want to?
No, but I don't want to change my vote. I want Dan to stay in number 4.
Okay.
If you'll agree.
You got 5 minutes
I
to go
agree.
for 2 people. All right, so Dan
It's time for
stays at
real.
4.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
And then I guess we're going to go down to number 3.
I'm ready.
So the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not ready yet.
Bummer, dude.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I voted Oscar for the reason I gave before, that he's on a team. I almost wanted to put him at rank 4, but that's really my primary. And also, I mean, obviously, translation is extremely valuable. Just to one of the very explicit stated missions of this Genesis Fractal is to grow adoption of fractal governance. And raise awareness. Those are 2 of the objectives. And I think we do that most effectively when we can communicate in multiple languages. So I think that team is important. Oscar being a part of that team is enough for me to rank you at 4.
All right.
We're gonna do a great job with the bees. We're changing the way the bees work into translation, but more about that in the future.
All right. Since we're running short on time, I'm just going to go ahead and propose that we've got an order established since we've got votes for Oscar. And we've kind of discussed everything. So can somebody type up everyone's names in a list that we can copy and paste them? Let's just have one person do it. So
I'm at it.
All right, my Hive name is in my Zoom name. Maybe everyone post your Zoom.
What was
or your
Gabriel?
Hive
Gabriel,
name.
what was yours? All right.
Is it Gabriel or Gavriel or Gavriel or Guvriel?
That's the one. I think you're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted. Name that I can't say.
Birth
Gabrielle.
certificate says Gavriel with an AL at the end of it, and my parents realized that was officially a girl's name, so they changed it to Gavriel. But I say Gavriel, so I don't mind how it comes out of people.
Cool.
Gabrielle. Okay, cool.
all right, I'm going to copy and paste that to Hive.
If you can share the Hive link, because that one I don't have it.
I can share that. There's the
Thank you.
link. Everyone double check that your name is spelled correctly, your Hive name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
So you're buying land in Mexico, huh, Gabriel?
Yeah, I've been here a year and a few months. I was in Panama for 4 months. I got my legal resident status in Panama, which is awesome, escaping from the UK. But it looks like I'm going to be getting resident in Mexico and this land and setting up community.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It reminds me of, if everyone remembers, Liberland, when that was a big thing in the EOS community, that there was a country that was going to use some sort of DAO governance or something.
Before that, ideas were freedom ship, if you guys remember that, probably 15, 20 years ago now. And then there's seasteading, which I'm a big fan of at the moment.
I worry about the economic challenges of seasteading. It seems like it's one hurricane and you're screwed.
Could be.
I suppose you can go to a place where there aren't hurricanes, which might be a good idea if you have a big boat for seasteading. I know Lovejoy is also a proponent of, like, I don't know, like having not yachts, but like boats
Catamaran.
with sails. Yeah, he's talked about, we had an interesting chat in the Eden members chat a while ago about having like Eden and maybe even Fractally communities getting like a bunch of boats and, sailing around the world someday.
Yeah, well, it's that's, we can laugh, but it's really, I think it's there's a high chance that it can happen as tyranny increases in certain parts, and people like us are better funded with crypto money. I think it could well happen.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of independence and mobility. And it's also nice, seeing a lot of sunsets and sunrises and stuff, of course, as well.
Yeah, but watch out,
And
because
swimming.
the sea is scarier, right? If you get just stranded in the middle of nowhere and you see no land around you, that scares you.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we have the Fractally process, then we can elect good captains and so forth, perhaps, to help us out with that.
That's great.
Right.
Well, with the economy going down, there's probably some cruise ships you could get.
Yeah, I think some of them are going cheaper.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys in the main room.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
See you guys. Great meeting. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, very fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
I love when this is stressful.
Oh, it was great. It was great, Joshua. Great testing there. We had a
I don't
fun
know
time.
what's wrong with my ability to count. Our group reached consensus very quickly, and I guess that just totally messed with my brain. My apologies to everybody for
No.
that.
Score. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good that we can recognize that we're human and give a space for being patient and forgiving to others in this building. We need that. I mean, that's what I've seen in these ecosystems. We don't have any patience or forgiveness. We're screwed.
One of the things
I'm glad, Doug, that you are not a robot. Huh?